Hi everyone, welcome back to my art channel. My name is Chris, and in this episode of doing fun art, we are going to be doing Catwoman from the new Batman movie. As you can see, I'm going to be using Posca pens, which are one of my favorite art supplies. They are just so fun to use, and I really love the bold colors. So I'm going to start with my paper. I'm going to list all of the products that I use down below, but basically what I do, I always prime my paper, and it can be with matte acrylic or a matte medium. When I prime my paper, I find that it helps from the surface breaking down, because the Posca pens, their nibs are actually kind of rough. So if you don't like your paper breaking down when you use Posca pens, I highly recommend that you prime your paper with either a matte acrylic or a matte medium. The matte acrylic that I used for this painting was from Blick, and I actually didn't like it that much. I felt like it really didn't work well with Posca pens. In the past, I have used the golden acrylic in white, and as you know, acrylic paint is shiny. So when you apply the Posca pen on top of the normal acrylic paint, it actually takes away the shininess, because most Posca pens are matte. So this time I wanted to try a matte acrylic paint, and like I said, I just didn't like how it reacted with the Posca pens. So it could be just the Blick's brand. So I'm going to try to find another matte acrylic brand that I could use. But usually when I start with Posca pens, I kind of separate the shadows, and I always like to go with, of course, the darkest color for the shadow. And I don't really blend the Posca pens. I just kind of do it in sections to create this very illustrative piece. And that is why I love Posca pens, because I feel like I could really let myself loose and not really think too much about blending and finding the correct shade, because Posca pens they do have a lot of colors, but they don't have all the colors. So I really like that I could get this really illustrative effect, and those bold colors. I just love the bold colors. I hope you have seen the new Batman movie. I went to see it on the weekend it first released, and I really loved it. My favorite Batman movies are the Dark Knight trilogy. I think those Batman movies are really well done. I really like them, and the actors, how they all portray Batman, Catwoman, the Joker. All of the actors were really good for the roles. I really liked Annie Hathaway's Catwoman. Honestly, when I saw her as Catwoman, I didn't really see the connection. But when I actually saw her, I thought she was pretty good. Now in this one, I'm actually doing Zoe Kravitz. She is the one that does Catwoman for the new Batman movie, and I really love the style and her acting skills. I was so amazed at her looks and her attitude and her acting. So I decided to do her in this fan art episode. And like I said, I was just amazed. I'm not really a big fan of Zoe Kravitz, to be honest. I seen some of her other projects and I was not impressed. But for this one, I think she really worked hard to nail the Catwoman character, and it shows in the movie. have talked about in recent videos that I've been having a hard time with my camera, so I apologize if it seems a little bit blurry. I'm trying to figure it out. I used to record on my iPhone and I used to work pretty well, but it takes a lot of my memory, and I invested on a new camera and I'm still trying to figure it out. It makes me so sad that in the other two videos where I shown my art process, the beginning of the video is so blurry and I don't like it. It looks very low quality. It gets better as the video goes on, but the beginning is just really bad. So it's no wonder that viewers get turned off by that. So I am trying really hard to figure out my camera and to figure out the equipment, because I am not a computer person whatsoever. So I'm trying my best here to make sure I give you the best quality that I can give you with my skills. So please bear with me, and I hope you stay with me even with all this troubleshooting and me trying to figure out my equipment. With that being said, I would always love it if you would subscribe to my channel if you like this video, and if you were to comment which is your favorite Catwoman, which actress was the favorite Catwoman that you like. I would really like to know. Like I said, mine so far is Zoe Kravitz. I really think she nailed the part. Second place would be Annie Hathaway. I think she did an amazing job as well. So when it comes to my process with working with Posca pens, I like to go in layers. So usually I do a first layer and I let it dry and then do a second layer. Most of the time I just need 2 layers. For this particular illustration, I had to do 3, sometimes 4 layers, because like I mentioned before, the acrylic paint just did not work well with the Posca pens. It kept coming through the paint. I don't know how to explain it, but it looked like powdery, like the white was coming through, especially the black and the dark brown. Like it did not like the darkest colors. So I had a hard time working with it. It wasn't so bad, but it was definitely a little bit frustrating. And I also like to work in sections. So I will do parts of the face and then let it dry, and then move on to the body and let it dry, and then move on to another part. And that way I give each section a time to dry, and then I could come back to do the second layer. When it comes to my color palette, I love using complementary colors. I honestly believe that you need to invest a little bit of time in learning color wheel and the color theory. I think it would definitely benefit your artwork. Now you're going to see more towards the end when I implement complementary colors. This illustration in particular, it's kind of hard because obviously the Catwoman, her suit is black, so there's really not that much color that I can really use complementary colors. But for the background, that's where I'm trying to focus on using complementary colors to kind of make the whole thing work. Now complementary colors are just that, they complement each other, and they are usually, and they're opposite in the color wheel. So for example, red and green are complementary colors, blue and orange, and yellow and purple, and they will always look good together. So, like I mentioned, you can go on YouTube or read books about color theory. I highly recommend that you get to know your colors. You don't have to go so in depth. You could do a basic knowledge of the color wheel, and that will change the way you see and approach your color palette. The type of paper that I use for this particular illustration is the Canson mixed media artboard. Now this is really thick paper. It's an artboard, so it's going to be thicker, and it has a very smooth surface. Now for Posca pens, I actually like papers that have a smooth surface. Like I said, their nibs are really hard, so they really tend to kind of damage the surface of the paper. I had tried it with watercolor paper and it works well, but I usually use cold pressed paper, and that paper has texture. So I really like just using it on a smoother paper. Either the artboard is really good, or I'd like Bristol paper, something a little bit thicker. I wouldn't really recommend using them on like really thin sketch paper or printer paper. It's going to work, but it might rip up the paper faster. Going back to the Batman movie, I was really impressed with Robert Pattinson. His portrayal of the Batman was really good. I really didn't like Ben Affleck's Batman, and I really loved Christian's Bale Batman with the Dark Knight. I think that was the best Batman. Um, but like I said, I was really surprised with Robert Pattinson. I feel like he is such a great actor, but people still think of him as the Twilight vampire boy. And to be honest, that's what I think of him. But he has really great movies and he has a really good acting range. I know he has um, I know he has done some indie movies, and a lot of people really praise his acting skills. So I am happy that he's moving on from his Twilight persona, because, like I said, his acting skills are actually pretty good. And he had a lot of chemistry with Zoe Kravitz. You could definitely see the chemistry between them in the movie. And they were like, I really liked Zoe's energy, like how she portrayed Catwoman and how she stood her ground and she did what she had to do because that's who she was in the movie. Now we are starting on the background, and as you can see, I'm using a blue color. Now I googled the complementary color of brown, and in my research it came to be blue. So that is what I'm going to be using. That is going to be complementing the brown in her skin, because everything else is black, so I don't really have much to much choices in that aspect. For For my backgrounds, usually I just do, like I said, 2 layers and keep them flat. I think I mentioned in another video that I'm having a hard time coming up with backgrounds. Usually it's just one color, or I tend to do little designs in the background, but I'm trying really hard to have a background that kind of adds more to my artwork instead of just being flat. I mean, I don't mind it, but I wish I could I could add a background to kind of tell more of a story. So I'm working on that. I know a lot of artists like to do movie scenes or like Studio Ghibli scenes to help them with developing their background skills. So I think that is something that I might do in the future. I think that's also something that's going to be fun. But yeah, like I'm doing the background, I'm doing 1 layer, I'm going to let it dry, and then I'll go back and do the second layer. I believe for this one, with the blue, the acrylic mat didn't really interfere with the Posca pen, but it did with the black. So I was a little confused, but like I said, I just worked through it and tried to finish the piece. It wasn't so bad, but it was a little bit frustrating. And this Posca pen is actually a bigger size. So Posca pens come in different sizes. This one is a bigger size than the one I was using for the suit and the face. That way it will give me more, it'll be easier for me to do the background because there's more space for me to do in the background. On a personal note, I mentioned in the previous video, I believe, I don't remember, but I mentioned that I've been really tired because of a medication I was taking. So I ended up having an allergic reaction to one of the medications. I was taking 2. So I ended up having that allergic reaction, and they took off the medication, so now I'm only taking 1, and it has made such a good difference in the way I feel. Like my energy is back, my mood is better, I don't feel tired, I don't feel sad. I feel like I'm able to do everything that I was able to do before I started those 2 medications. So I'm going to be taking it longer, but if it's going to make me feel better in the long run, then I'm up for it. I'm so happy to be back to my normal self. There's still some precautions that I need to take, but I don't mind as long as my energy and my mood come back to normal, which they did. I was kind of a little irritated. I wish that the doctor had given me the option to begin with, whether I wanted to take 2 medications for a shorter time with those really not bad, but like with those side effects, or if I wanted to take 1 medication for a longer time and reduce the side effects. I wish I'd just gone with the 1 medication to begin with, so I wouldn't have had all the side effects that I had. And I actually had to go on leave from work because I just could not drive. I was so tired, I was so sad. So I'm happy to be back at work. I work at a school district, so I have 2 weeks left before summer break, so that's good. So yeah, I'm happy to be back to my normal self without all those side effects. I always have a hard time when working with the face, doing little details, fine details, my hand always gets so shaky. It's almost like when you're doing eyeliner that you need to have a firm hand, and if you mess up once and you keep going over it and the line gets getting thicker and thicker. That's how I feel when I do the details in the face, especially the eyes. For some reason I always have to mess up the eyes, so I really try to go slow. I do have the fine tip Posca pens that I use for super fine details, so I use that, but still my hand is always shaking. Now if you see some changes in the light, I'm actually bought a new ring light to add more light to my videos. I noticed that in my past videos it was kind of dark, so I'm trying, like I said before, I'm really trying to give you a good quality content, and I am investing in equipment to make sure I'm able to give you that. If you have any suggestions about how I can improve my content, please let me know. Please help me out. If you think it's too dark, or if you think I need more lighting, or I need to do better editing or something, please let me know. I really want to make sure I am giving you the best experience you can get, and I'm giving you quality content that you will enjoy. Now I'm starting to add the highlights. This is my favorite part because it means that I'm almost done. But adding those highlights really brings the illustration to life. It doesn't make it look as flat because you kind of have some reflection of light. Um, of course, I use a white Posca pen. I believe there is a beige Posca pen that you could use, but I like the white, especially for the suits, and it's a leather suit. You really want to give that reflection of leather. Um, so yeah, like I said, adding the white really makes everything pop and be put together. Now what I'm doing is I'm using the fine tip Posca pen to go over the lines. I'm trying to do an outline of the entire thing. That is something that I do at the end as well, and that is just to bring everything together, to make sure I give that illustrative, almost cartoon-like look to the illustration, having those bold black lines go around the entire figure. I'm also going to do the lips and the eyes and the face. I'm not going to do it around the shadows, just in the overall outline of the body and the eyes and the lips. I really like that look. I really like that comic look, manga look. It's something that really attracts me as an artist, and that is something that I love to do when I do my Posca pen illustrations. One tip that I will give you when using Posca pens is to actually shake them in between uses And as you see on my right, I have a scrap piece of paper, and I shake my pens, and before I put it on my actual paper, I cannot tap on that piece of scratch paper because sometimes the paint would just come out. And if you don't realize that and you go straight into your painting, your illustration, you might have a bunch of paint coming out of your Posca pen. So I always recommend you have a scratch piece of paper next to you where you can kind of like test them out before you actually put it on your actual piece. I have had some accidents where I actually put paint everywhere because I didn't do that, so I kind of learned the hard way. So please always stop and shake your pens in between, and before you go back to your piece, make sure you kind of tap it on a piece of paper, and so that extra paint don't go on your actual work. We are almost done. As always, thank you for watching my content. Thank you for subscribing, liking, and commenting. I appreciate every one of you who has subscribed to my channel and who has engaged with me in any form. I'm really happy that there are people who are willing to watch my content. It makes me really inspired and motivated to continue posting for all of you. And like always, if you haven't subscribed, please do so. Please like this video, please comment. I would love it if you become part of this little community that I'm trying to build here on YouTube. So like you see here, I'm just giving in the final touches. Now this is how it looks all done. I'm really proud. I really like how it came out. If you could please comment below which actress did the best Catwoman portrayal. Like I said, mine right now is Zoe Kravitz. I would love to see which one is yours. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.